Hi, it's John Hashey here, and I just wanted to talk to you from A+Ocean and tell you a little bit about some of the equipment we're selling and dispel some of the things that are going on within the page here, the forum, and to get a clarification on how machines really work. Jeremy, this is a roll-off of what Jeremy made earlier today. In fact, him and I had some detailed discussions about cartridges, machines, rotaries, and things of that nature last night. So we're trying to give you technicians and artists the information needed so you can effectively do cosmetic tattooing if you want with the devices that we sell, or so that you can do the removal safely as well. And as Jeremy said and showed, not all cartridges are the same. So in China, you may have a really bona fide manufacturer of cartridges, and then 100 other Chinese companies will knock off from it. So you don't really know, unless you're a broker, what you're getting, or you're on the scientific level of this stuff of taking things apart, and you really know what needle pins are being used to make the configurations and things of that nature. So we're gonna come over here and I'm gonna show you the basic kit here. And as you can see, I have my setup here, and this is one of the rotary devices which we call the Genesis. This is one of the devices that people have a little bit of difficulty with, and it's really a very simple system. This is our power supply. If you was to purchase this package or the electromagnet coil machine package, this is our newest and latest power supply. So when it comes in your package, it's going to have a little power pack like this, and this is our power pack. You can't use any other power pack. This is specifically designed for this power supply. So the power pack plugs in the back of the power supply like that, and then it goes to your electrical connection like this, and then you know that it's getting power because there's a green light here. So that takes care of that portion of the setup. Now the next thing is you're going to have a foot switch. All right, so here's my foot switch. This is called a gem round foot switch. We also buy these and put them together and adjust them. So the foot switch I usually put on the bottom hole, but it doesn't matter. It can go on the top hole or the bottom hole. It does not matter. So we put it in there and there. Now we're set up with our basic setup with the power supply. On the back end of it here, we have a switch to turn it on and off. So what you're going to do is turn it on, and you can see I'm up at 9 volts right here. So I'm going to turn that down, and you can see right here the readout. So I'll turn it on, off. There you go. You can see. So what this is telling me, this doesn't tell me how fast the machine's going. What it's telling me is how much amperage and voltage is going to the machine. A lot of folks in the permanent makeup industry have been misled, lied to, and told everything under the sun about numbers and digital. So I'm going to explain that a little bit, and what I'm going to tell you is basically it's a bunch of BS. You've been brainwashed to believe that these settings will control the needle in the sense that it's going to even so much as censor the needle or tell you how fast the needle's going and things of that nature. That's not always true, and in fact it's pretty inaccurate. The way needles will run will be dependent on the device and the resistance, and then also how big the configuration is. If the needle configuration is this big around, it's going to take a lot more force to drive it into the skin and take it out of the skin. If a needle's only this big around, then it will take a lot less to run it in and out of the skin. So as Jeremy had said in the earlier video, and you'll even see this on Zion's website as well, I think that's what they call it, the Zion. There is no setting. There is no such thing as a set setting to do permanent cosmetics, conventional tattooing, or removal. It's all conducive to what needle configuration you're using, how large that needle configuration is, whether or not the cartridge is of quality, and also whether or not you've got your machine, whether it be a rotary device, a Nouveau Contour, a Platinum 5000, it doesn't matter. It's a matter of whether you have your machine set up correctly. So I'm going to show you the basics of this machine and how we set up the Genesis, which is the pink one that we've been selling the rotary, and then we came out with this kind of gray silver color, and we're coming out with another one. Now you can buy this equipment off all these different websites. I can guarantee you that you're buying China junk. We do not sell equipment that's garbage. So for example, this rotary machine that we have devised and worked with the companies with, we put the Swiss motors and the German and the Japanese motors in them. And when they're coming from China, you're not getting that. I don't care what anybody tells you, unless they know how to retrofit these things, it's impossible. It takes a lot of special tools, and we spend a lot of time doing it. And we'll take you a little bit of a tour where we're the real deal here, where we really do make everything from the needles to the pigments to the machines. You name it, we make it. So this power supply right here was actually manufactured with our own hands. We do it ourselves. We do all the electronic components. We have engineered it, and this power supply right here, our newest super mini power supply, will run anything on the planet with the right cord. I'm going to demonstrate that in a few minutes. So you need to get past this thing about there is a setting or a speed setting, because what happens is when you're running the equipment, depending upon the configuration, how well the machine's been properly set up, is going to determine whether or not that machine is going to run smoothly, and how much, if you want to say, voltage on the machine or amperage you are looking for to make the machine run faster. So in general, if you take any machine with no needle in it, and you just hold it up with no needle or a cartridge, and you keep turning up the voltage or the setting, the machine's going to run faster. Now, if you connect a needle to it, say in a coil machine or a rotary device, a cartridge, if it's not set up right, or depending on the configuration or certain key points, you'll get resistance, and that will affect whether the needle's going up and down. So people out there that are saying, you know, everybody's telling me to set my rotary device at 6.5. Not accurate. It's not accurate at all. That's not how it works. And I'll demonstrate that a little bit here, and we'll show you basically on rotaries, and I've got other devices here that we've tested over the years, so you can see how simple it is just to change things out with our power supplies and clip cords and foot switches and things of that nature. So the first thing we're going to talk about is our new rotary device, which is the Genesis. One of the ladies in the group here gave us that name, and because we are Christians, we love the name. So we have two different heads here, and this is how you would pull it out of the package. Each head is really just a different grip for your fingers. Some people like it bigger, some like it smaller. These are designed to accept any manufacturer of qualities needle cartridges. But as Jeremy had pointed out, when you take these things apart, they're not all the same, and they're not all the same quality. So I'm going to just put this particular head away. I just don't want to hold this big head, so I'm going to put it back in the box. All right, so here's our machine. I'm going to take this grip, and I'm going to put it on here. And if you notice, there's a couple rubber O-rings here. That's for resistance, and it's got a lubricant on it, and that's what helps keep tension on the machine. As I turn it like this, there's tension. So now there's the machine right there. Now, if I take this machine, and here's the cord that comes with it, it's a particular type of a phono jack. And what we're going to do is just undo it. And if we take this and we put the cord into the power supply, okay, now I'm going to take the machine right here, and I'm going to plug this right into the back of it. So now the machine is connected to electricity. Now I'm going to step on the foot switch with my foot right now. And you can't even hear this moving because the motor needs at least 7 volts to get going. So now that I'm stepping on it, it's moving. It's at 6.5 volts right now, which would break down to 4.2 amps right now, amperage. And you can't hear this thing. There's no noise. You can only feel a vibration in the machine. So that doesn't mean that right there, that particular setting, believe it or not, is so low that the piston, there's a piston in this motor that's driven down, and then what happens is when that piston comes down, it hits the top of the cartridge here. So the piston comes down, hits the top of the cartridge, which drives the needle into the skin. Now that rubber bladder in there will snap that cartridge back up when the motor goes up as well. So what's happening here is when you look at this motor, you can stick your finger in here And when you feel it, you'll feel the little hammer or rod coming down and hitting my finger right there, which is actually hitting this rod in the cartridge, which drives the needle in and out. So the more power you add to it, theoretically, you should get the needle moving faster or harder. So we're going to turn this and put it back on like this. All right, so now we've got it back together, and as I said, you can't really hear anything. No noise. Machine is running though. So what I'm going to do is just take this cartridge and I'm going to clip it in here. Okay, so you just give it a turn and that locks it in. So now I have it. All right, it's put together, and I'm running it. It won't run. There's nothing happening. So at 7 volts, it's barely running. So I can run this on my finger or on my hand, and it's really not driving the needle into the skin because there's not enough power. But that runs the machine with this particular cartridge. So if I start turning it up like this, now I'm up at 9 volts. That needle's hitting really hard, and it will break my skin. That right there, it just broke my skin. It's breaking my skin right now. That's at 9 volts. If I keep going up, it's going to be going faster and faster. So in essence here, the more that you want those needles to go in, or the faster you want it to run, you have to add voltage or amperage. This is what it's called. So now how we adjust the needle on the machine is very simple. So you can see there's a little gap right here. That's because it gives it the ability to move back and forth like this, and that's how you adjust your needle depth. So what we're going to do is we're just going to step on it, and when it's running, if you can bring the camera in just a little bit closer, you'll see that needle is moving up and down thousands of times a minute. When I turn it, the more I turn it, the more the needle starts to come out. You can see the needle coming out further and further. So right there, that needle right there is almost out, probably pretty close to almost 1/4 of an inch. You know, that's a long distance, okay? I could work completely off that needle the way it's set up. But if you keep going, what happens is you start to bind the needle down because you're going too far. I hear it starting to hum. You can hear it humming. That's because it's actually slamming into that needle because there's no movement in there. So I'm just going to move this back, and I'm turning it right now, and I want to just get it out, let's say about 2 millimeters or 2.5 millimeters. And for the average technician, that's a good spot to be working on is 2 millimeters. Now that's hurting my hand right now, and I'm up at about 10 volts. So it is drawing blood. So that's how you would set it. If you wanted to go deeper, then obviously you would turn it while it's running and watch that needle start to come out of the tube, and the cartridge, what we would call a tube, this would be the tube part of the cartridge. When it's running like this, as I turn it, you can see that needle starting to come out further and farther. When I go counterclockwise, it actually starts to retract into the machine. So if I really want that needle to hit hard, I'm going to add more voltage. And if you look at the power supply right now, I'm up to 11 volts. And it's not really volts, but it's amperage. We're going to use the word volts. And it's going like crazy right now. It's really, really fast and powerful, and it'll puncture the skin. Now, for people that want to do things like hair strokes with this, you have to realize that when you're going to do a hair stroke, you have to come into the skin, and the particular needle configurations that are most likely used is a single needle or what's called an 8-3 round liner or a 3-round liner needle to produce a great hair stroke. If your machine is running too slow, when you're going that stroke along and the skin isn't super tight, the needle will catch like this. So you have to speed the machine up and move your hand slower to produce the stroke correctly. And if we're doing ovals and for removal and whatnot, we want that power up enough so that when we do that concentrated oval that we want in the block system for removal, that you have enough power to derive any configuration in and out of the skin. So again, this is the basics of the machine, and as you can see, that cartridge clips right out. If you wanted to, you can take your head off, and if you like a bigger head, put the head right on here like this, and we're right back to square one again. I'll clip it in. I've got a bigger grip. Some people like a bigger grip. Now I'm going to step on it again, and I can see my needle, and it just happens to be I turned it enough that that needle's pretty much almost perfect. So this is the Genesis machine. We currently have it in pink and this silver gray, which is beautiful. And it's really that simple to use. There's no rocket science to it. You just have to get all your parts put together correctly. Personally, for me, I like the little grip like this. I just do. I'm old-fashioned, and that's the way my coil machines will work. So now we're just going to put this machine back in here, and again, that's the Genesis, but this is the same power supply. So I'm taking the clip cord, the cord to this machine, our Genesis rotary device, pink or silver gray, and I'm just going to put this away, and I'm going to show you the difference of how things will work here. The power supply itself, I've designed it to run anything. So now I'm taking a clip cord. This is a clip cord that's used for a coil machine. I can plug it right in here to the power supply, and here's my ultra mini tattoo machine that we manufacture right here. I can clip it right on here like this, and this is really a high voltage for this machine, but watch. It's running, no problem, it's running the machine. I can tune my machine right in, and I will do another video on how to totally set up these electromagnetic coil machines. Little bit of a learning curve, but once you've got it, you'll have no problem working with this machine. You'll find that it can do anything in cosmetic tattooing, removal, medical tattooing. In fact, if we go up here on the board here, right up there, I tattooed that man's eye. I put that new cornea on him with the electromagnet coil machine. So now I'm going to just bring you down here, and we're going to take this clip cord out. Okay, I got the clip cord out. And so I showed you two devices right now with our power supply. Now here's another one of my machines. This is the limited edition pink coil machine. It's set up correctly, and I forgot I had it out here, but I'll just pop that clip cord back in there. Right, we got it right in here, and we'll get it to where it belongs, even though we don't have all our barrier control on it. And this machine right now is ready to go. And you can see right now, you don't hear it too much, but when I add the proper voltage to it, and I just rest my thumb right underneath there, it doesn't stop that needle. That means that needle is hitting hard enough to go in and out of the skin effortlessly, and I could actually go like this with my fingers and just run it across my finger, and it'll draw blood. That's what you call quality. That's what you need to do great cosmetic tattooing, medical tattooing, removal, clinical needling, so forth. So now I have this device right here. It's another rotary machine. I don't even know the manufacturer. It's just stuff that I get sent to me and tested. This is one of our phono jacks that we carry. All right, so I'm going to take that out of the package. All right, so this is the phono jack. Totally different setup. As you can see, it's a totally different RCA cord. Still has the phono jack on the back. Plug it into my super mini power supply, and then we pop this rotary device out of here. And the way this particular rotary device works is that the needle gets attached right here, and it goes through and into a tattoo tube like you see over here on the coil machine. This little power supply right there, my power supply plugs into it, and you would hold the machine like this. Now watch when I step on it. It's running like crazy. So as I said, this is another rotary device, and I could go through dozens of them. I could even go through machines all the way back to the 1920s that I have, and even the machines such as this. This machine right here is a 14 rep Big Joe custom machine that Joe made for me before I retired from the Marine Corps, when I was tattooing with him and the Hells Angels. And this machine, believe it or not, as big of a monster it is, and it weighs almost 1.5 pounds, and you can see these enormous coils on here. It's all in how you set up the equipment. So I'm going to put a clip cord back on it. All right, now this is a monster of a machine, but believe it or not, I can do the softest, most beautiful ombre shading or anything you want with this machine and it just runs so soft and smooth. It's all about how we set up the equipment. So in essence here, I've covered this and in great detail. We're trying to give you the information between Rhonda and Carol and Diane Mogliaro and myself and Jeremy. We want to give you the very best information. It's important though to understand that the industry has kind of snow jobbed you ladies in the permanent makeup industry. Us folks like myself and Jeremy that have been in the tattoo world, between Jeremy and myself, let's see, 47, 25, I mean, we're way up to, almost 90 years or something to that effect in time in tattooing, and that's all types of tattooing. So we're going to give you only the finest information. We'll actually have my wife, she's videoing this. We're trying to do the best job we can with my cell phone on the fly here. But we'll just kind of walk in the other room and I'll show you that this is not a game to us. We only produce the very finest. We only want to give you the very finest. And what we tell you, if you follow our instructions, will work to a T. Everything has a learning curve. So just be prepared, watch, we'll give you more videos and we'll show you what this is kind of all about so that it makes your job easier. We've seen everybody from buying, different cartridges from different manufacturers all over the place. They're all over Facebook and this, that, and the other. I had a lady here yesterday. She's on our page. I'll let her speak when she sees this video. The truth of the matter is she came in here and I showed her how simplified things are, and people are worrying about how much cost they should charge for removal and things of that nature. You're talking $2 tops for a quality needle configuration, a very basic setup that would cost you about $5. And your goal, if you want to do removal, is volume. And if you do volume and beat everybody's prices, we'll show you how to make a lot of money and where to find these clients. So that will be another video coming down the pike here. We're going to walk in the other room and just take a quick look over here. So this is one of the rooms here where we manufacture. And as you can see, if we go up here, we've got power supplies everywhere. You can see them in all forms and stages, test equipment. One of my employees right now is sitting here bottling our pigment. So we do manufacture everything. You're getting everything 100% US made, or we get the very finest stuff in the world so that you get quality. We don't buy garbage. We only sell the best. So when I tell you I put a German motor in something, we put a German motor in it. You won't find that anywhere else, and we stand behind the equipment. But more importantly, as you kind of look down this one wall, and there's Joe right there carrying pigment that he's bottling. We have everything. We manufacture everything, and we only get the very finest. So with that said, we're going to come out with some more videos. Jeremy and the team and myself, Rhonda Best, my Canadian distributor, and Carol Dezam, and Diane Mogliaro, all the technicians, Sandy Hendricks. It goes on and on. We have people all over the world to help you. We're the only ones that provide this type of help. So stick with us. We'll show you what it's all about, and stay tuned for the next video. I'm going to keep doing them, time permitting. So have a blessed day, and we'll talk to you soon.